This is Gerardo Del Real with Resource Stock Digest. Joining me today is the Mercenary Geologist, Mr. Mickey Fulp. Senor Fulp, how are you this afternoon?
I am well, Senor Del Real.
Perfect. Well, thank you for taking the time. The last time you and I chatted, we were in New Orleans. It was a great time. Just 10, 15 minutes ago, we got a speech by Fed Chairman Powell. It ignited the overall U.S. indices. The market is up some 550 points. Gold is up, silver is up, copper is up. We're doing this in real time. Some quick thoughts, Mickey, and then we'll talk about tax loss selling season.
Well, I think it was predictable that Powell was going to have to be dovish because the economy is not maintaining as we thought it would, and the stock market's come down drastically from its record highs in late August. And Trump's been beaten on the bully pulpit about the Fed, so quite predictable. And as soon as that happened, the U.S. dollar dropped, half a point, more than half a point, as soon as that happened. And now it's down, for the day, it's down 0.6 of a point.
Yes, sir.
And of course, commodities reacted to the upside because they're all priced in U.S. dollars. So gold jumped about $10. Copper's up a couple of pennies. So oil didn't do so well, but oil's in a bit of a bear market correction right now. Or let me put it this way, a bear correction in a bull market. So it's significantly off over the last 2 months.
Well put. You mentioned copper. The commodity elephant in the room, of course, is China. There's a big G20 meeting. There's been some posturing by China and by President Trump. Any thoughts on where that goes? Do you believe that trade wars are sustainable? I know privately you've shared in the past that you believe Trump is negotiating. Do you think that ends well? And if so, do you see the copper market as being also a bear market correction within a broader bull market, as I do?
Well, I think I see it as you do, at least with regards to copper. I don't think this is a trade war. I think that's a media hyperbole, if you will. There are ongoing trade negotiations. We've already resolved our issues with Mexico. We've resolved our issues with Canada to our benefit. We've resolved most of our issues in the Eurozone. And in my opinion, Trump's just trying to get a level playing field. Larry Kudlow, who I quite like as an economist, and he's Trump's special economic advisor or whatever his title is, he's a free trade.
Sorry to cut in, Mickey. You like economist?
Well, not all of them, but I quite like some of the stuff that Larry Kudlow talks about. And he's a free trade guy, and he keeps telling us this is a negotiation. And I think it is. And he told us yesterday that China needs us a lot more than we need him. And I could not agree more with that take. So it may take longer than we're hoping for, but this will be resolved, and I trust it will be resolved in the United States' favor. If it's not going to be resolved.
Interesting. Now, I mentioned tax loss selling season. This year has been particularly pronounced, and it comes on the back of an already tough 2018 for most in the junior resource space, with a few exceptions. Can you talk a bit about how this market in the junior resource space specifically stacks up with some of the other bear markets that you've seen in the past, Mickey?
Well, this is pretty deep this year, and a lot of it's been exacerbated, I think, by the demise of the cryptocurrencies and the winnowing down, if you will, of a bunch of bad marijuana stocks into a few that have performed outstandingly. So it's kind of all piled on this year, and we all thought 2018 was going to be a very good year for commodities, and in fact, it's been a bad year for commodities. Everything's down except for uranium and palladium. palladium hit an all-time high today. It's $50 off parity with gold. Now, explain that. I don't think anybody can. They can attempt to explain it. So the commodity space has not made a lot of sense this year. And what we've seen is just a brutal year in the junior space with most companies, I dare say, had their 52-week highs in the first quarter. That's not all that unusual in a bear market, but the baby's been thrown out with the bathwater. And there's some really good stocks that are trading at their 52-week lows as we speak.
Let's look forward to 2019. In 2018, you had the rise of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, frankly. You had the marijuana sector and the speculative boom there. That's now on the other end of that trade, right? A lot of the air is coming
Absolutely.
out of that bubble. Do you see that as favorable for the juniors, being that traditionally we see that bounce post-tax loss selling season in January? And if so, what do you like and why do you like it?
Well, I think you're exactly right. Point on there. Those two sectors have come off. They were bubbles. The bubbles are gone. So people, because they're still making good money in the major stock markets, everything's now up on the year now, when last week it was down on the year, quite volatile. But, the one sector that has not participated is the resource sector, the commodity sector. So it's just a matter of time. Junior resource sector is always driven by gold, and gold's down, something on the order, I'm doing the math in my head, about 6% on the year yet. So what we generally see, and we've done extensive research, is from early November to mid-December, when tax loss selling season is on, there will be a bottom, and those bottoms usually occur in mid-December, December 15th, plus or minus 2 to 3 trading days, and then we commonly get a significant bump, especially in good stocks, from that mid-December range until through the first week of January, after which they kind of flatten out. So that leads to a really good trade. You buy good stocks in mid-December and you flip them in early January. And I've got a bunch of them on my list right now. I wish I had enough money to buy all of them. I think I'll be able to buy half of them.
Care to share any names, Mickey?
Well, I just wrote a piece that came out to subscribers only, but once again, all you got to do is sign up to get it. It's free, called Tax Loss Selling Gives Us This Buying Opportunity. And the one I point out is GOLD on the Toronto Big Board Exchange, and it's had a 52-week low of 73 cents. That occurred about a week or 10 days ago. 52-week high of $1.54. It would close at 78 cents yesterday. And I dare say that if you bought some GOLD sometime in the next 3 weeks, you'd have a pretty good flip and likely some nice profits trading that in a short term in early December.
Excellent. Any other names? And then I'd love for you to tell us how we can subscribe or how people can subscribe. I'm a subscriber to your free newsletter to get those exclusive insights.
Well, I currently cover a couple other stocks. I cover Ely Gold Royalties on the Venture Exchange, ELY. We picked that at 9 cents in February, and it's reached a high of 16 cents. I think it closed yesterday at 13, but it's a prospect generator royalty company, junior royalty company that's going to have a couple of producing royalties and increase its cash flow next year. And the other company I still quite like is Trilogy Metals, arguably the two best copper projects in the first world, high grade, giant, and they got South 32 as a partner. That stock has bucked the copper trend all year long, trading at near its 52-week high. But if we're correct and next year is going to be good for commodities, it's likely to be led by copper. And if copper goes up, that company has been highly leveraged to the copper price.
You mentioned that gold leads the commodity sector, and that's certainly true. Are there commodities outside of gold that you're particularly bullish on for 2019?
Copper and uranium and gold, those are the three.
Ah, you've crossed over to the uranium good side, Mickey. It's good to have you.
Gerardo, I have been on the good side or the long side of uranium longer than you have been writing a newsletter. So it's been a long time coming, but it appears it's close to being here.
Fantastic. Mickey, a pleasure as always. Thank you so much for the insights and for the time.
Thanks a lot, Gerardo. And I think I failed to mention, go to my website, to my mugshot, sign up by clicking just below that, and you'll get all my stock picks for free. You can access most of the information on the website, but if you want my stock picks in a timely fashion, you need to be a free email subscriber.
We'll make sure to put a link up, and Mickey is also really good about answering emails, everybody. If you have a question, write. I was one of those writers over a decade ago that was emailing him a question every week or so, and he was kind enough to respond. So shoot him an email.
I'll respond to everybody that's not a troll.
There you go. Mickey, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Gerardo.